Title: The Breakfast of Shadows. In the quaint little town of Eldridge Hollow, where the sun rose lazily over the horizon, casting long shadows across the cobblestone streets, there was a peculiar house at the end of Willow Lane. It belonged to Brad, a boy who had a peculiar affinity for breakfast. But this morning, as the clock struck 7, something sinister was brewing in his kitchen. Brad was the only boy in a household of girls. His mother, 2 sisters, and a grandmother who had a penchant for the supernatural. They often whispered tales of the strange happenings in their home, but Brad dismissed them as mere stories. Today, however, the air felt thick with an unsettling energy, as if the very walls were holding their breath. As he shuffled into the kitchen, the aroma of burnt toast filled the air, mingling with the sweet scent of orange juice. His sisters, Lily and Rose, were already at the table, their eyes wide with anticipation. "What's for breakfast?" they chirped in unison, their voices a melody of innocence. "Just the usual," Brad replied, glancing at the counter where an egg sat ominously in its carton. It was the only egg left, and for some reason, it seemed to pulse with a life of its own. He picked it up, feeling its smooth surface, but when he tried to crack it against the edge of the bowl, it wouldn't budge. "What the? Let me try," Lily exclaimed, snatching the egg from his hands. She struck it against the bowl with all her might, but it merely bounced back, unyielding. "It's like it is cursed or something." She giggled nervously. "Cursed? Don't be silly," Brad scoffed, but a shiver ran down his spine. The egg felt wrong, as if it were hiding something sinister within. After several failed attempts, the egg finally cracked, but instead of the expected yolk, a furious chicken burst forth, feathers ruffled and eyes wild. "Cluck! Cluck!" it screeched, flapping its wings and sending a cascade of flour and sugar flying across the kitchen. The girls screamed, their laughter turning to terror as the mad chicken went berserk, knocking over the milk jug, which began to spill everywhere. "Brad! Do something!" Rose cried, her voice rising above the chaos. But Brad was frozen, watching in horror as the chicken wreaked havoc, sending the wacky wayward waffles tumbling off the counter and into the chaos. The milk flowed like a river, pooling around their feet, and the orange juice, once contained, now gushed forth like a tidal wave, threatening to drown them all. "Help! We're going to drown in juice!" Lily shrieked, her eyes wide with panic. "Get the mop!" Brad shouted, snapping out of his stupor. But as he turned to grab it, he noticed something strange. The chicken had stopped its rampage, standing still in the middle of the kitchen, its beady eyes fixed on him. It seemed to be waiting, as if it had a message to deliver. "Brad, what's it doing?" Rose whispered, her voice trembling. "I don't know," he replied, heart racing. The air grew thick with tension, and the shadows in the kitchen deepened, twisting into shapes that seemed to whisper secrets. The chicken clucked again, but this time it sounded almost human. "Only Brad. Only girls." It squawked, its voice echoing in the confined space. The words sent a chill down Brad's spine, and he felt an inexplicable connection to the creature. It was as if it were revealing a hidden truth, a dark secret buried deep within the walls of their home. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and the kitchen plunged into darkness. The girls screamed, and Brad felt a surge of fear. "Stay close," he shouted, but the shadows seemed to dance around them, taunting him. When the lights flickered back on, the chicken was gone, leaving only a trail of feathers and a lingering sense of dread. The kitchen was a disaster zone, milk and juice pooling around their feet, burnt toast smoldering in the toaster. "What just happened?" Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I think we've awakened something," Brad said, his heart pounding. The kitchen felt alive, as if it were watching them, waiting for their next move. As they stood amidst the chaos, the realization dawned on them. Breakfast was no longer just a meal. It had become a terrifying adventure, a scary tale that would haunt them long after the sun set on Eldridge Hollow. And as they cleaned up the mess, Brad couldn't shake the feeling that the mad chicken was just the beginning of something far more sinister. Story notes. This story incorporates elements of horror through the use of supernatural occurrences, such as the mad chicken and the eerie atmosphere of the kitchen. The tension builds as the characters face an inexplicable situation, leading to a climactic moment of fear and uncertainty. The mysterious tone is maintained through cryptic dialogue and the unsettling imagery of the chaotic breakfast scene, creating a sense of dread that lingers throughout the narrative. The characters are developed through their reactions to the bizarre events, enhancing the emotional connection and suspense. Title: The Day of the Unexpected Encounters. Perspective 1. Brad. Brad adjusted his sunglasses, the sun glinting off the lenses as he stepped into the bustling cafe. He was dressed to impress in a fitted black leather jacket, a white tee that hugged his frame just right, and distressed jeans that showcased his style. Today was a day like no other. He could feel the energy in the air. The cafe was filled with laughter and chatter, and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air. As he made his way to the counter, he couldn't help but notice the girls around him. They were all dressed in tight jeans that accentuated their figures, each one radiating confidence. Brad felt a rush of excitement. He loved being around such vibrant energy. He ordered his coffee, but as he turned to find a seat, he accidentally bumped into a girl. "Whoa, sorry," he exclaimed, catching himself just in time. The girl, with long auburn hair and a playful smile, turned around. "No worries. I'm Mia. You must be new here." "Yeah, just moved to town," Brad replied, trying to play it cool. He couldn't help but notice how her jeans hugged her curves perfectly. "Nice to meet you, Mia." Perspective 2. Mia. Mia had been enjoying her afternoon at the cafe, sipping on her caramel macchiato and scrolling through her phone. She loved the vibe here, especially on days when the sun was shining. When she felt a sudden jolt, she turned around to see a guy in a leather jacket looking flustered. "Brad, huh. Nice to meet you," she said, her smile widening. She noticed how he carried himself with a certain charm. "So, what brings you to our little corner of the world?" "I'm just trying to find my place, I guess," he replied, his eyes sparkling with interest. Mia felt a flutter in her stomach. There was something about him that was intriguing. As they chatted, she noticed her friends, Jenna and Lila, approaching. They were both dressed in equally stylish outfits, and Mia felt a surge of excitement. "Hey, girls. Come meet Brad." Perspective 3. Jenna. Jenna had just finished her class and was eager to catch up with Mia. She spotted her friend talking to a guy who looked like he just stepped out of a fashion magazine. "Who's this?" she asked, raising an eyebrow playfully. "Mia, meet Brad. He's new in town," Jenna said, smirking as she nudged Lila, who was right beside her. "Nice to meet you, Brad," Lila chimed in, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "So, what do you think of our town so far?" "It's pretty cool, actually. I like the vibe here," Brad replied, glancing between the three girls. He felt a rush of confidence, enjoying the attention. As they continued to chat, Brad found himself getting lost in the conversation. He was having fun, but he also felt a little clumsy. As he turned to gesture, he accidentally bumped into Jenna, who was standing a bit too close. "Whoa. Sorry about that," he said, trying to regain his composure. Jenna laughed. "No harm done. Just don't get too distracted by our amazing outfits." She struck a playful pose, and the group erupted in laughter. Perspective 4. Lila. Lila watched the interaction unfold with a grin. She loved how effortlessly Brad fit into their dynamic. "So, Brad, do you always bump into girls like this?" she teased, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "Only the ones in tight jeans," he shot back, a cheeky grin spreading across his face. The girls burst into laughter, and Lila felt a warmth in her chest. There was something refreshing about Brad. He was genuine and fun. As they continued to chat, Lila noticed how Brad's confidence grew. He was charming, and the way he interacted with each of them made her feel special. She could see why Mia was drawn to him. Perspective 5. Brad again. As the afternoon wore on, Brad felt more at ease. The laughter and playful banter made him forget about his nerves. He was enjoying the company of these girls, each with their unique personalities. "Hey, how about we all hang out later?" he suggested, feeling bold. "I'd love to explore the town with you guys." Mia's eyes lit up. "That sounds like a great idea. We can show you all the best spots." As they exchanged numbers, Brad couldn't shake the feeling that this was the start of something exciting. He had bumped into more than just a few girls. He had stumbled into a new chapter of his life, filled with laughter, friendship, and perhaps a little romance. Epilogue. A new beginning. As they left the cafe, Brad walked alongside Mia, Jenna, and Lila, feeling a sense of belonging he hadn't expected. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the streets, and he couldn't help but smile. Today had been a series of unexpected encounters, and he was ready for whatever came next. Title: The Shadows of Hollow Grove. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the quaint village of Hollow Grove, a chill swept through the air, heralding the arrival of Halloween. The streets, usually bustling with laughter and chatter, now lay cloaked in an eerie silence, save for the rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. This year, the Halloween party at Brad's home promised to be unlike any other, for it was whispered that the veil between worlds would be thin, allowing the spirits of the past to mingle with the living. Brad, a tall figure with tousled hair and a penchant for mischief, had invited only the women of the village to his gathering. The allure of the night was palpable, and as the clock struck 7, the first guests arrived, their costumes a kaleidoscope of dark enchantment. Witches, ghosts, and creatures of the night filled the dimly lit rooms, laughter mingling with the scent of pumpkin spice and caramel apples. Among the revelers was Alara, a girl with raven black hair and a mysterious aura. She had always felt a connection to the supernatural, her dreams often haunted by visions of lost souls. As she entered Brad's home, a shiver ran down her spine. Something was amiss. A flickering candle cast dancing shadows on the walls, and in the corner of the room, a carved pumpkin glowed ominously, its face twisted in a grimace. "Did you hear about the message?" Alara asked her friend, Lila, who was dressed as a spectral bride. "They say it is a warning. Lila rolled her eyes, her voice teasing. You and your ghost stories. It's just Halloween. Let's enjoy the games. But Alara couldn't shake the feeling that something dark loomed over them. As the night wore on, the group engaged in pumpkin carving, laughter echoing through the halls. Yet, every time Alara glanced at the carved pumpkins, she felt a pull, as if they were watching her, waiting for something to unfold. Suddenly, a loud knock echoed through the house, startling everyone. The door creaked open, revealing a group of trick-or-treaters, their faces hidden behind elaborate masks. They whispered a cryptic message: the lost must find their way home before dawn. With that, they vanished into the night, leaving behind a chilling silence. What was that about? Brad asked, his brow furrowed. The atmosphere shifted, laughter replaced by an uneasy tension. Alara felt a surge of urgency. The message was not just a riddle but a call to action. Maybe it is about the lost dog, Lila suggested, recalling the village's recent tragedy. A beloved pet had gone missing, and the villagers had been searching for weeks. We should help find it. As the group deliberated, Alara's heart raced. She had seen the dog in her dreams, wandering through the woods, lost and alone. I'll go, she declared, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her insides. I know where to look. Brad, intrigued by her determination, decided to join her. I'll come too. It's not safe to go alone. The two ventured into the darkened streets, the moon casting an ethereal glow on the cobblestones. As they walked, Alara felt the weight of the night pressing down on them, shadows creeping closer. Do you believe in magic? She asked, glancing at Brad. Only when it is convenient, he replied with a smirk, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of curiosity. They reached the edge of the woods, where the trees loomed like ancient sentinels. Alara closed her eyes, focusing on the connection she felt with the lost dog. A soft whimper echoed through the trees, guiding them deeper into the darkness. Suddenly, a rustling sound broke the stillness, and from the underbrush emerged a small, trembling figure. The lost dog, its fur matted and eyes wide with fear. Come here, boy, Alara coaxed, kneeling down. The dog hesitated, but as she extended her hand, it bounded towards her, tail wagging. Relief washed over her, but before they could turn back, a chilling wind swept through the trees, and the shadows began to shift. Brad, we need to go, Alara urged, but it was too late. The shadows coalesced into figures. Dark, twisted forms that whispered secrets of the night. You've meddled in our affairs, one hissed, its voice like rustling leaves. The lost must remain lost. With a surge of courage, Alara clutched the dog tightly. We're taking him home, she declared, her voice ringing with defiance. Drawing upon the magic that coursed through her veins, she summoned a protective light, illuminating the darkness around them. The shadows recoiled, their forms flickering like candle flames. Run! Brad shouted, and together they dashed through the woods, the light guiding their way. The shadows pursued, but Alara's magic held them at bay, a barrier of shimmering energy that pushed back against the encroaching darkness. As they burst into the clearing, the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, dispelling the shadows. The dog barked joyfully, and Alara felt a sense of triumph wash over her. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. Back at Brad's home, the party was still in full swing, unaware of the peril that had unfolded just beyond the veil of night. As Alara and Brad entered, the atmosphere shifted once more, laughter returning as they shared their tale. The lost dog was welcomed with open arms, and the party resumed, but the shadows of Hollow Grove lingered, a reminder of the night's magic and the battles fought in the dark. Story notes. This fantasy story incorporates elements of magic and supernatural conflict, with a focus on the themes of good versus evil and the quest for belonging. The dark, gloomy tone is established through atmospheric descriptions and the presence of shadowy figures, creating a sense of urgency and danger. The characters, particularly Alara, are developed with clear motivations, and the narrative explores the complexities of bravery and the struggle against darkness. The resolution ties back to the Halloween theme, emphasizing the importance of community and the bonds formed in the face of adversity.